All right, here we are. We're back. This is a very special occasion. We are going to be celebrating the life of one of our favorite Beyond Vaudeville guests who had appeared on the show, Mr. Sal Piro, who unfortunately passed away earlier this year at the age of 72. We lost him too soon. We're going to take a look at his episode, and we're going to talk about Sal. And we're going to be accompanied by two people who knew Sal very well. One is his sister, Lillias, who will have a lot to tell us about Sal that maybe we never even knew before. And we'll have Checkerphil, who is a friend of the Beyond Vaudeville family, who actually worked with Sal at the Rocky Horror Picture Show fan club offices, and he can talk to us about that too. So without further ado, let me please welcome Lillias and Checkerphil.
Hey now, good to see you. Woo!
Oh, there we go.
Good to see you, Rich.
I didn't mean to have you guys so tiny. I'm still learning the technology here.
It's okay. You're doing great. You're doing fantastic.
So, I first met Sal. I was on the #1 train, and he came up to me and had recognized me from Beyond Vaudeville and told me he enjoyed the show. And then he started telling me about his association with Rocky Horror Picture Show. And, Rocky Horror touched a lot of our lives. I was able to tell him that, when I was a high school kid, I was going to see Rocky Horror at the mini cinema out in Long Island and, shouting out all the lines. And I never got in the fishnets, but I did shout the lines. So I just want to kind of talk through Sal's life here, and you two were so gracious to join us here. So thanks for coming.
Oh my God, I'm thrilled. We loved your show. Are you kidding? Sal adored you and adored your show. That was like perfection for him. Your show. That was his sense of humor. That was the guests that you had, everything.
Well, Lillias, we might have to have you on every single Rich Brown Rewind from now on, if you keep up that kind of talk. So I have some photos that I want to share, and we'll take a look, and that'll let me call that up. Is that coming up? There we go.
Wow.
So Lillias, you shared some of these photos. Thank you. And what are we looking at here? This is Sal around how old?
Oh, I guess he was like 5, maybe 5 or 6.
Good.
Knowing who Sal is, I just think this is one of the funniest pictures ever. And he's adorable. Do you notice his face has never changed? Ever. Look at that face. He was the same face at 5 that he was at 72.
Absolutely.
The same expressions.
As soon as I opened that photo, I was like, boy, that's Sal. So he wasn't a typical rifle NRA kind of guy.
No.
Opposite.
That's exactly why I gave you that picture, because I just think it's hilarious.
Well,
it's
and they're
definitely funny.
And I guess there are many things about Sal that we'll talk about that kind of are puzzling, but in an interesting way, not a bad way.
Yes.
So how about this photo here?
So that's me next to Sal. We're 13 years apart. He doesn't look too thrilled to be on that ride with me, but knowing Sal, I wanted him on that ride, and he would go, even if he hated it, thought it was stupid, whatever he thought. And, it's funny, if you look at my face, that smile and that admiration was at that age to this time of his death, and still today when I even look at pictures of him, because he was so wonderful to me and he was so wonderful to so many people. But that, to me, that's my favorite picture of us, because it really shows how much I really adored him.
And Lillias, this was an amusement park. Was this you grew up in New Jersey?
Jersey City.
City. I had always assumed Sal was like a Brooklyn guy because of the way he spoke. It sounded like a guy from Brooklyn. What?
Well, he did live in Manhattan for, the majority of his life. He went into Manhattan, I think around age 25 or 26, and he never left. He never looked back. So he does, we both had that New York, New Jersey accent.
Now, these are some, this is him doing early theater work. He started out doing theater work?
Correct. So this is a famous theater downtown called the Glines Theater. Okay. Famous for, it did a lot of gay, plays and things like that. So this was Sal's first real play in Manhattan at the Glines Theater. Of course, I was there. I was 12. And what we're watching is a picture of him in a show called Gulp, and at the Glines Theater, and he won rave reviews for it. If you look him up, if you Google it, you can find those reviews. He stole the show.
And this would have been around the late 1970s, somewhere around there, or?
Correct.
Okay. And yeah. Phil, we're going to get to you. We're just doing some childhood.
I'm just digging the pics. Go on.
Okay, and here's another. Now, what is this from?
So this is a famous picture that's been around the internet for a while. I just love it because I like Sal's expression. So this is Sal on the set of Fame. Mm-hmm. That was probably with Alan Parker. So you could see how he's so enthralled with Alan Parker. Sal loved everything: media, television, film, music, art. I think he was just so thrilled to be a part of that film. And so I love that shot just because I love that he's just, you could see it in his face. He's thrilled to be there.
And if anyone hasn't seen the movie Fame, the characters go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and there he is. There's Sal doing what he does at the movie screening, and it's really fun. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Okay, here's Sal in Ripley's Believe It or Not. They made him look very, I don't know what he is here. Downtown.
Looks like he's got a breath in this one.
He looks a little sinister, I think, but yeah, that caricature is weird. But it was, I mean, at that point in Sal's life, he was getting a lot of notoriety for seeing the film as many times as he had. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was a fun thing to throw in for everybody to see,
And at this point, he had seen the movie 1,100 times. How, in his lifetime, did he get a pretty good number on what it was? How many times he actually saw the movie?
Phil, do you know that? Because I don't know if I know an actual.
The funny thing about
yeah,
they had to stop counting for him because logically thinking that he was sort of indirectly working for Fox, so he's not. Right. He was out of the running for doing that, but so many different times that he's done it around the world, and just think that a lot of times, did you see the movie from the beginning to the end? He's just emceeing, sticking around for it. How much is really truly seeing the movie? But I'd say a darn lot. If I myself have seen it a ton, and everybody else I know have seen it tons, Sal definitely beat us all.
Now, I'm presuming that people watching here know the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I guess if you don't, and I guess part of the reason I presume that is, I heard from my daughter last year at college, and she was 18 and in Boston, and she said, "Oh, I just went to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show." So, and that wasn't true. I don't know. I don't think she knew any of this history that I knew Sal or anything, but the movie clearly is living on, and it's this cult classic. And yeah, part of it is that people love to see the movie again and again, and it's very interactive. And
it's a rite of passage for a lot of people.
And continues to be. Yeah, amazing.
Yes.
Here is Sal. So part of the interactivity at these movies, at the Rocky Horror Picture Show, is dressing like some of the characters. And
before cosplay was cool. Before cosplay was cool. This was cosplay.
And this started, now this was around 1977 that this phenomenon started, right?
Yeah. I mean, the film premiered in 75, panned and then shelved. And then Tim Deegan, executive at Fox, decided that New York was so fabulous back in those days. They were starting the midnight movie circuits where you would see like Clockwork Orange, or there was all these different films that were out. And so they decided to throw Rocky Horror on the midnight circuit, Lou Adler and Tim Deegan. And so they put it at the Waverly. That was the first place it ever played. And, of course, Sal and Mark Shaman, who wrote Hairspray and also did Some Like It Hot. He's almost has an EGOT, was Sal's best friend at the time. He was my first piano player because I used to sing all over the village when I was 8 years old with Mark Shaman, and because of Sal. And so Sal and him stumbled into the Waverly, and they joined the party. And as someone put, I love this on Twitter about Sal. Someone said Sal went to Rocky Horror and never left. I mean, I was like, yeah, that's kind of true. He never left.
So you mentioned Mark Shaman, and
yes.
I know that there were just a bunch of them there, and Dory Hartley was kind of the first one to come in costume, and then there was some kindergarten teacher who yelled out the first thing at that theater.
Was it Buy an Umbrella?
Yeah, Buy an Umbrella. Cheap, whatever.
Right. And then, so Sal was a little bit older than everybody, and not much, but a little. And so he kind of gelled this all together, right? And just kind of helped create the phenomenon and decide to turn it into a fan club. And
if you want to hear a little tidbit about that, how this really came to the point of fame where he's standing up doing announcements and he's talking and doing a speech before the film, which was crazy for me to see for the first time in my life. During There's a Light, the musical number in the film, everyone was holding up candles in the Waverly and they were lighting them. And, the management was going out of their minds because of the fire department. So Denise Borden was the manager. She was this German woman, came up to Sal and said, you have a big mouth and everybody listens to you, and you need to get up there and tell everybody not to light those candles or they're going to shut us down. So Sal got up one night and he said, everybody attention, I need your attention. And everybody was quiet, and they knew him because he was a regular and they knew he was, forthright and there. And he told everybody, please do not light a candle because they'll shut down the film. And that night, There's a Light came on and not a soul lit a candle. And at the end of There's a Light, the whole entire audience burst out into applause for themselves that they kept their film alive. It was a great moment, and that's really how Sal started standing up and talking in front of the film. It was an accident, it was like.
Invention.
So eventually, even I'm assuming that's Richard O'Brien there.
Correct.
Right? Yeah, Richard O'Brien from the movie. So the actual actors in the movie got involved with the fans.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, everyone was hearing about us. We were in the Daily News. We were on Regis. Regis didn't even have a co-star when we went on him. That's how long ago it was. It was just Regis with the morning show. We were on Regis. We made MTV regularly came down to film us. VH1. We knew all the VJs back then. And so, of course, then what was left but the actual stars of the film? Sal has pictures with all of the stars, he knows them all, but I chose Richard because I think out of all of the stars of the film, Sal and Richard really had like a beautiful connection. It was like kismet for the both of them. Richard wrote this and Sal carried the torch and lit the way so that everybody could see Richard's beautiful work. Mm-hmm. And also Richard was highly intelligent and Sal is highly intelligent, and I just think they clicked on that level. They had a mutual admiration for each other in intelligence and the way they presented each other. And Richard came in, and he was really a magnificent star to come down there, you know, and be with us. I sang Time Warp live with Richard O'Brien in that theater. I mean, it was incredible times. People have no idea what we, you know, what we had there. We had Chastity Bono and Gene Simmons was in the audience one night. Eartha Kitt was there, and Bella Abzug. I mean, we had people like that. They stood standing room in the back, the two of them one night. So, you know, there was a hubbub going on in the village.
So Phil, here you are. This was around when, Phil?
All right, now this is Barry Bostwick, and he is in a play called like a musical version of Nick and Nora, and I think Betty, our friend Betty, got us in like to go see the show, and we all went to go see the show and met up with Barry, of course, and we're outside the stage door. Like a side door where Barry's going in, and we're all talking to him, and a car pulls up beside him and goes, "Hey, a-hole," because of him, and he's just like, "Yeah, everybody's always doing that." But now, you know what? Now he's one of the people that are getting involved with Rocky Horror more, and he's taken on that mantle of a-hole, and he's like, "Yes, I am," and he's just going with it. Everybody calls him. He's Uncle Barry now. He's doing things. He's opening shows. He's doing audience participation. He's getting involved.
I see in the comments, thank you, those of you who are coming in, and please do any questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in there. And Mark Thorner is saying Cher was there one night.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, we had, it was in, you know, it was a 550 seat theater, and the buzz got around the village. I mean, 8th Street was really back then the heart of the village. And people would line up at 8 o'clock at night to see our shows. You know, I mean, and we were sold out every Friday and Saturday night for as long as we ran there. And that was all because of Sal. I mean, that was the director in Sal. Sal loved, you know, when I was younger, we'd put on community theater. We did the Fantastics together. If you had a stage, Sal was directing you, putting everybody together and doing everything. And he loved that. He loved connecting people. He loved bringing out the best in people and making sure that,
for sure.
Yeah, right.
He would find things in performers and say, "You do this, you do that," and these people would get their own little fan clubs going on there. People would follow these things because Sal would see things in people and be able to take this person and say, "All right, you're going to perform as this. You're going to do these things."
Phil Michael Ellenbogen is saying that the photo was 1991.
Thank you, Madman.
Wow. See, Mike, of course.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Who are these
I gave you this picture. I gave you this picture because I love this picture. Look at this picture. Is this a fabulous picture? Look at the calendar in the back.
From Tower Records.
Tower Records.
Wow. I remember that. Yep.
Tower Records.
And Rolling Stones still doing it now. Who knows?
Isn't that great? So Sal wrote greeting cards, Rocky Horror greeting cards for a company called Crabwalk Inc. And I became the secretary of Crabwalk Inc. And that's actually Crabwalk Inc. on Blaker Street, right up the street from Tower Records. And I love it. I don't have, believe it or not, as much as Sal and I were together, we don't have that many pictures together. So I love that picture. Just, I love the antiquity of it. I love all the, you know,
it's a great shot.
The fun stuff in it. But, you know, of course, I love being with him. So I had to give that to you.
Right on. This is one of the ones before he passed. We did a show, a podcast called Rocky Talkie, and I highly recommend it. Definitely go do a search on the Rocky Talkie. And Sal just really breaks it down about his love of Rocky Horror and his origins and things like that. And I was just glad to be in the room just to check check him out doing the thing. So I was glad.
So Phil, this was among the last times you had seen Sal, or
yeah, I would think the last time Lillias we were being interviewed for a documentary, right?
wow.
Doing a thing like that, and that
and how long had you known him? How old were you when you first met him?
Holy smokes! All right, Madman can attest. All right, I guess this would be freshman. Is it a freshman or second sophomore in high school? Joe Snow was the Jose Nieves was the Eddie there, and he went to my high school, Music and Art High School. A lot of music and artists, a lot of people from all the different high schools would get together, and we'd go down to Rocky. They took me down to Rocky to lose my virginity, and I kept on coming back all the time. And I remember eventually down the road, I was working for the fan club. I mean, you pulled into answering fan mail and things like that. But then also, I painted Joe Snow's jacket, and I painted the fabulous Firehawk, Hawkeye. I painted his jacket. Also, all the Eddies, I was painting all the jackets. And one day, Sal pulled me inside and said, "Hey, why don't you paint your own jacket?" And I was like, me do that? And it's just like, then I started to, get there and start performing at 8th Street. And that was just like, I tell you, it was a dream come true for me.
And you say lost your virginity, not the way you might think. And we'll see that shortly, because we're going to watch the episode with Sal.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we have one more shot here. This is this Sal on Fire Island, or where is this, Lillias?
So this is it's so funny you put this last, but this is his prayer card.
Yeah.
And so let me first say that this is one of Sal's favorite pictures ever. And it was taken by Doug Dwyer, who really documented a lot of Rocky back then. And so I props to Doug for always taking beautiful pictures of all of us and never getting credit. But anyway, that I put that on Sal's his prayer card. And then, of course, Dream a Little Dream of Me. So Mamas and the Papas. It's so funny that Lou Adler and him would become really good friends later on in life. And, Sal just loved the Mamas and the Papas. So I had to put that on his prayer card. But yeah, I wanted to, and you put it in the right order. So yeah.
Lou Adler, who's still with us and is a giant. He was the guy behind Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes.
Cheech and Chong, Mamas and the Papas, and I'm sure much more. I'm not a music guy, so I couldn't name them all. But yeah, he and Sal were pretty tight, right?
I mean, they even like
yes, it's funny.
Oh, still there?
Lillias. Lillias. Well, one of the things that we know is that.
Are you talking, Phil?
I am talking. I was saying that Lou Adler had invited Sal to be at the Waverly for a documentary that he's doing. Do you want to say a little something about that, Lillias?
Yeah, he so yeah, this is very poignant because this is crazy actually, really, when you think about it. So 3 days before Sal died, Lou Adler called him and said, "I'm doing a documentary on Carole King, and I want you to come and see it. And it's at the Waverly." That was the last outing Sal ever was at. Was the Waverly, of all places. And so Sal was sitting at the Waverly, and he thought, I'm going to see a Carole King documentary. He was happy, and, Lou was there. He did say to Lou before the documentary started, "Listen, you're up there and I'm up there. And if one of us dies, somebody better do something about the 50th anniversary." He did say that to Lou. So, and of course, Lou said, of course. And then, so Sal sat in the back, and Lou was sitting in the front in director's chairs by the screen with a couple of other gentlemen. And Lou starts talking, and he's like, I opened a little picture here almost about 50 years ago. And, Sal's just sitting there. They filmed this too. So, I have it. So they're panning on Sal and they're panning on Lou. So you could see them both. And then Lou said, this young man stumbled in here and Lou got his age wrong. He said 19. Sal was in his 20s, but whatever. And so Lou said, he was going to be a priest. And he came to the Waverly and he became the Rocky Horror Fan Club president. And some people are like, people are clapping a little because now they know it's Rocky Horror. And, people are laughing a little. And then, Lou goes, Sal, take a bow, Sal. Sal, he's here, Sal Piro. And, I think Sal was a very humble person. He really was. As loud and big and bigger than life than he was very, Rocky Horror. Never, ever. Like, no, he'd say, oh, no, a group of us, Lillias. Don't say it's me. It's everybody. Even though he stayed in the theater for 25 years. Nobody else stayed in the theater for 25 years. Okay. So to me, he kept Rocky Horror going. Anyway, I think that really, really touched him. And the fact that that was the last thing that he really experienced on Earth out in public is just, it's a magnificent story. It's kismet, I'm going home, and he was aware of that because I spoke to him right after that. And he did say to me, it was so strange to be at the Waverly and have Lou there. And he's thanking me for Rocky Horror. And, so that's a story about that. But it's
obviously,
I think it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
It's a great story. And we will and we'll talk a little more in just a bit about what's in the works documentary wise and otherwise. But I thought we should watch the episode that Sal did with us on Beyond Vaudeville. So let's call it up and let her run. First, we're just going to look at these credits. Sans music because of rights issues.
Wow, I feel like we're doing one of those things that, like, when you got the DVD and they were talking over the film.
And Sal Piro and company. Okay, Jim Grosso, the nose whistler, who I'm wondering if Jim Grosso is still with us.
Okay, welcome once again to the Beyond Vaudeville program. Thank you, David, for reading off all the people we're having today. Just a couple of things we want to quick show you before we get underway, and we do have to get underway soon because we have a lot. Just got the all-new second series of the Batman cards, and you got the gum, like okay, and the Heroic Escape and Fantastic Miniature. Oh, I need this one. I got the Man in His Quarry, David. There you look, the Man in His Quarry. Remember I said I was looking for that one? Okay. Also, Nintendo game packs you can get too. You might want to look for those, but I won't open it because there's not much time.
More valuable.
Okay. We got a nice letter from Mr. Morton Sanders, PhD, who says he watches the show and he wants a question answered for him and his friends who are human behavior therapists. And he says, is David's posture and mannerisms an act, or does he have an identifiable behavioral problem? I didn't write that, David. That was a letter that somebody wrote in. Okay. Also, the Laverne and Shirley book with all about Penny Marshall and Cindy Williams gives you everything you need to know. And I read in the book that they don't even drink beer. They don't even like beer. And it's funny because on the show, right, David, they worked in the brewery. One last thing, how to draw comics the Marvel way. And shows you how to do the comics that, we all read. You can just go through and they show you how to do the faces like that.
John.
All the little pieces. Okay, our first guest, let's please get to now because we do have a lot. As I said, a lot of you will recognize this person because of he had a very popular show on back in the early 60s, and he's been very busy since then. We're very honored. I'm sorry for the gum. We're very honored to bring with us Mr. Frank Frieda, Diver Dan, you'll remember him as. Hey, Frank.
Good to be here. How are
Frank,
you?
I'm fine, and it's a pleasure to have you on here because of all the kids shows, yours is one of the greatest. And I guess not everyone in our audience, but some might be too young to.
Did either of you know this show, Diver Dan? I didn't myself.
Yeah, it sounded like some black and white TV action.
Old timey, yeah. Okay.
Remember? And we just thought maybe we'd show a little clip that we found.
Sal explained it to me at the time.
Loaned to us, and we just like to show it, and so everyone can see, the younger kids who don't remember Diver Dan. If we can see that, please.
What's going on here? I know I hear voices. And that's someone singing. But at the bottom of the sea? Maybe I've been diving too long. It seems to be coming from over there.
Hi there, Georgie Porgy.
Well, Felly, what's new?
I was just on my way to visit the mermaid.
Minerva?
Yep. She promised to sing us a song.
Oh, great.
Well, come along. What did you say?
I didn't say anything.
Well, I heard a squeak.
And so did I.
Well, bless my gill and fins.
A new fish. And a cute one.
Oh, she's scared. Oh, come on now, pretty little fish. We won't harm you. I'm Finley the haddock. And this is Georgie the porgy.
Here comes Doc Sturgeon.
Oh, good. Hey,
Oh, that was great, Frank. And I bet that brought back some memories, seeing some of those fish
Yeah, it's
swimming around.
quite nostalgic.
Now, there were a couple of characters in there. There was a barracuda fish,
That's right.
and he was the evil one,
Baron Barracuda.
Baron Barracuda,
And his henchman, Triggerfish.
Triggerfish. Okay, and so now, how did you get started with that show? How did you what?
Well, I was late for the audition, and the producer actually was coming out of the studio, and he, for what it's worth, cast me right there on the sidewalk. So there are some who say because I fit physically the preconceived costume that was made.
Did you ever think before that you'd be a Diver Dan? Did you ever think you'd do it like a show like that?
No, but I did always have an interest for things underwater, and of course you see where it is today. It's really taken off. Our show, as you know, was in several languages. Sandy Becker played it here.
Right.
And I just want to stop and say, as a credit to your entrepreneurial skills, unless it was David that found me, you found me, and I don't know how you found Diver Dan. Sajak didn't yet, and the other guys.
Well,
By the way, I did find him and then gave the phone number to David. David would always make the phone calls to because he would be very persuasive, convincing people to come to the show.
See now being like,
it is a real pleasure for us, and we feel very honored that you were here to join us, Ms. Frieda, and you are here to join us. But now you've also you've been writing plays and
Well, I do the typical actor things. I've done some writing, and of course, when I had hair, I had the helmet on me. Now that I don't have hair, they want me to be without a helmet. You asked me to bring some photos
yes,
to show.
this
Good?
this will be very nostalgic for some of our viewers. And now you have, this was the comic book that you have.
Yeah, I was offered quite a bit of money for this, by the way. I'm not bragging, but from some nostalgia buffs.
is that gold key?
And look, can you get a close up on? Look at that. And there, that's you right there in
So
the
that's
helmet.
when he made the comic books.
Do you have
No.
that anymore? The suit that you?
No, the suit used to hang, and set people used to wipe their hands on it, actually. We did make this in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And for those of you who are curious, would you like me to tell you very quickly how it was made?
Oh, please.
We shot through an aquarium, so some of the fish were real, little minnows swimming.
Okay.
And most of them were wooden,
Okay.
just hanging on strings. So the puppeteers had a difficult problem trying to keep them flowing smoothly.
Looking like the real fish.
Yeah, and here's another one. And the last one I want to show you.
Get a shot at, oh, there you go. Okay. And with one of the fish there.
Okay, here it is. Now I went from that job, Frank, to all this dust. I went from that job to this job, and I think you might want to get a close-up of that because that's going to surprise you.
Now I can't. Is that the trolley? Let me. What? I can't make it out now.
Okay, that's Ronald McDonald.
Look at that.
I was the first Ronald McDonald in the East.
Really?
So I went from one costume to another, and there he is on his famous train burger.
Okay. Well, look at
If you
that.
could see.
The first Ronald McDonald in the East. It's very specific there.
That's and I have here the McNugget buddies that McDonald's was giving out, and also their this is with the little French fry guys that run around. So I'm very familiar with Ronald McDonald, and that's probably something a lot of the viewers didn't know, was that you went on to become the first one in the East.
Yes, there were two. One was a Chicago guy, a lot of steak and beef out there, and I was the Eastern one.
Oh wow,
There was a lot of East Coast, West Coast
I
beef.
didn't know, right? But most folks. So what's ahead now? Are you going to any Diver Dan reunions or anything like that?
Well, it's funny. Diver Dan never made public appearances. Of course, Ronald McDonald did every franchise that opened, and
Right.
he went there by train burger. And but we never did make too many public appearances other than going to TV studios for Diver Dan.
Right.
And we'll never forget the memorable night that the mermaid couldn't get into her costume that night.
Oh, the woman that played the mermaid on the show. That was.
That's right.
And
after a large dinner, she had trouble. It's a very tight costume for those of you who remember.
so it wasn't Daryl Hannah that the mermaid. This was someone else before.
This is someone else.
Before
yeah.
her.
And Alan Swift did all the voices. Of course, they're all on the credits.
I thought I recognized that.
Well,
voice.
I know, Mr. Frieda, it's been a great honor to have you here, and I know that you did have another assignment that you had to do today that you had mentioned, and we don't want to keep you from that. So we want to thank you very much for coming on, and thank you for all the great memories of Diver Dan.
All right. My pleasure. Thanks for finding us.
Thank you, Frank.
Bye-bye.
Every so often we would get a guest and they would set boundaries for us that they wanted their time in the beginning and then off they would go. And unfortunately, this was one of those cases because we always love to have everyone together. And
Take care. Well, that was okay. Now that was something special, I think, right, for all our audience people. Don't you think, David? You kept very quiet during that whole interview. I guess you were enjoying that, just taking it all in. Okay, well, all right, David. Our next guest is from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's like one of those scary movies. And here's the expert on the show, the movie, Sal Piro. Please welcome. And how are you, Sal?
Hi, how are you? How are you?
It's great to have you on, Sal.
Oh, it's really great. I watch this show all the time. And first of all, I'd like to make you an official member of the Rocky Horror Fan Club.
Oh, look at
I
that.
have one for you, and I have one for David.
There you go, David.
David.
Be gracious, David.
David. Okay, well, I'll make him a member anyway.
All right.
And I brought you a little gift, a piece
Oh.
of memorabilia. Patty Duke's Greatest Hits.
Oh.
I know that you had Sally Field's album on a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And I wanted you to see this.
Oh, and that's the one with the Cousins show, right? Wow, look, that's special. And she does Yesterday and Donkey Shown and Too Young. Oh, that's very nice, Sal. And thank you very much. And we didn't even ask him to bring something like that. He just did that. That was very nice of you, Sal.
Oh, gracious.
Now, I think I'm not too familiar with Rocky Horror, just that you mentioned that you're with it and that you promote it and talk about it.
Well, it's a midnight movie. It plays all around the world, Friday and Saturday nights at midnight. It's a cult movie, and the young people love to go see it over and over. I've been to 1,300 performances of it.
Oh.
And I was in the Guinness Book of World Records a couple of years ago for having seen the movie more than anyone else. And everybody goes and they dress up as the characters and they participate with the film. And it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. I've been doing it over 13 years, and it's exciting. It's exciting because you go to see this movie and there's a show in the aisles and people are acting out the movies at the same time. You know how, like, when you were younger, you might acted out things in front of your mirror from movies or records and stuff like that? Now you can go and, like, do this fantasy in the movie theaters.
Well, 1,300 times. My favorite movie of all time is Hans Christian and Andersen, and I used to do the Thumbelina thing. So it's like that, right?
Right.
And but even that, I've only seen it like maybe 10 times. 13. That's a lot of times.
So if you've never seen Rocky Horror before, you're a virgin.
Oh,
That's what they call anybody.
Yeah, we knew that.
Okay, no. All right.
What happened to your card, David? Did you lose it?
All right. Well, he's not getting mine. Now, Sal, you brought someone who acts out part of the movie, and maybe you could introduce that person.
I brought with me tonight Delphina, he plays Dr. Frankenfurter, the lead character in the audience group.
Okay.
And he's going to do one of the numbers from Rocky Horror.
Okay. Well, let's have Delphina doing one of the scenes from the movie. We'll see.
So we got flagged for this music. So unfortunately, this is minus music.
But I'll tell you a thing about if I could talk about Beyond Vaudeville for a second. So Sal, what happens is he would show us old episodes of Beyond Vaudeville, and we love it because when we were sitting there answering fan mail from around the world, we would go through this and watch these episodes. And then you guys would have the live shows at Caroline's and stuff like that. I remember our first show that we went to, our first live show that we saw was maybe Barbara Feldon.
Okay.
I don't remember what year that was. Whatever 93 was, 92, 93. We started going to the live shows, and we'd tell our friends come and check you guys out, and that's where we got to really meet you guys. So it was just fantastic. And then we came again. A lot of the Rocky people came for the Halloween episode where we were trick-or-treaters. So that was another great, fun episode to be on.
Now, this is Delphina?
Yes, Delphina.
And how much a part of the show was Delphina at the
Delphina was one of our wildest, more livelier Franks. And Delphina also does a whole bunch of different other characters, does like Bette Midler, would do like Alice Cooper, he does a whole bunch of things, has a whole repertoire of different characters, so of which Frank is just but one of them.
And here's Sal playing the part of Brad in the song, right? And then, acting this whole thing out.
And such a natural on this one, and then without a beat, just playing it up. And I love your reactions. That's why I just always love the you are like the Chuck D and the Flavor Flav, you and David doing this kind of thing. I just love the interactions and non-interactions between you two. Just your reactions are just awesome.
And so the movie is still playing in Manhattan?
Yeah. If I could give a quick plug, what is it? RHPSNYC.org or NYCRHPS.org. Do a search on it. New York Rocky Horror Picture Show. They're still doing it and a whole bunch of different things, and still doing it to this day.
And does Delphina, do any of the old timers?
I personally, as an old timer, I like to keep my thumb in and perform every once in a while with the new kids and being there. But I see Lillias getting around there, helping open shows and doing things down. I saw her doing a thing down in Florida. What's up with that, Lily? Oh yes, perfect.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I've been invited now. I'm Floridian. And but being a Floridian, I have a wonderful Rocky family down here that have embraced me, and they invite me and I go speak, and they're really fabulous. And I was with Barry Boswick just recently in the Arts Theater in Miami, talking about some projects that I'm working on for Sal, which is going to be a documentary, folks. Please stay tuned for that. But I will always keep my hands in Rocky Horror. Why not?
2,000.
It's so
Okay,
much
David.
fun.
All
I mean,
right,
it doesn't
David.
matter what.
2,000.
It's
Sit
always
back,
be
please, so we
fun.
talk to the guest.
What?
2,000.
David, I didn't
don't
know it
where
was
you
going to be
get
a little
that
so
money.
wild. Now,
I don't know where
all
you
right,
got that
I'm
money.
sorry. All
Just-
right.
Why is
Sal,
he
thank
saying
you for
2,000?
bringing your.
Well, that's
yeah.
that's
I think he was trying to convey this idea that I somehow was paying him $2,000 to do that show.
To do the show. to tolerate
David,
Chelsea.
I don't know what's going on.
it's about it's the Frankenstein story, but instead of Dr. Frankenstein, it's Dr. Frankenfurter, the sweet transvestite of transsexual Transylvania.
Okay.
And it's all about, that's what the movie's all about. Fishnet stockings and absolute pleasure.
Okay. Now, Delphina, so this isn't like a dirty. This isn't dirty though, right?
No, just suggestive, not dirty.
Okay.
Just let your imagination do what you want with it.
Oh, so it's just like imagination.
It's a camp spoof.
Oh, okay. All right.
A lot like Hans Christian Andersen with their pants down, you know.
Oh, okay. I never thought of it that way. That movie. Have you been doing this long?
8 years.
8 years, and you do it now. There's a theater. Where is this now? Where people can see this?
Well, we've just moved. We were at the 8th Street Playhouse in Manhattan for 11 and a half years, and we just moved to the East Side Cinema, 55th Street and 3rd Avenue. And we're there every Friday and Saturday at midnight. And you can come, and if you're a virgin, you can see the movie for the first time and lose your virginity. You should come down. You should lose your virginity.
I don't know if
I'll take care of it personally, I guarantee.
Oh, dear. I think I'd rather see it on video. Or
Yeah, you'd
something.
like that, wouldn't you, Frank?
Oh, all right, David. Okay, well, maybe, we'll see how things go. Okay, now.
I love
I'm
that you're
sorry.
making
I
fun.
didn't know-
Yeah, you will.
All right, I just got caught off guard because I didn't realize that, but it was good, Delphina. Thank you. And let's please bring on our next guest so we can have everyone on. This gentleman is a nose whistler. He whistles through his nose. He also sings through his nose. And he's been on several programs, and we're very happy to have him. Please welcome Mr. Jim Grosso, please.
Excuse me.
Hello, Mr. Grosso. How are you? Yeah.
Think they got room for me?
Mic there. And is there another mic there, Sal, or I don't, okay.
Use this one.
All right. Now, Mr. Grosso,
Yes, sir.
it's a pleasure to have you on. Your act is a little more traditional, right, than that. Now, you do. Maybe you could show everyone a little bit of how you do the whistling through your nose.
Okay. It's just we take one deep breath and bring the air up. When the air hits my Adam's apple, I let the air come out through my nose with a song, and this is how it's done.
Wow, that was something. That was hypnotizing, Mr. Grosso. Now you don't cheat.
Sal's
There's
trying
nothing
to
coming
keep
out of
his
your mouth. It looked like
composure.
it was.
No,
so
it's
tight.
yeah, I don't have any.
Yeah, this nose whistler was a postal worker. He worked in the main post office in the behind Penn Station. And this, by the way, is just looking it up. It was 1980, November 11, 1989.
Anything in my mouth. I just take one deep breath, like I say, and I bring the air up and let it come out.
Now, can you drink and whistle through your nose? Or?
I've never tried that.
Okay.
Never tried it.
Now you also sing through your nose, right?
Yes, fine. Yeah.
And could you do a little of that for
Yes,
us?
sir.
maybe? Right.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. sing on.
Wow, that's really something, Mr. Grosso. How did you find out you could do these things?
I was 8 years old in grammar school, and I just started it, and it came out like that.
Wow.
Not the singing, the whistling. And the whistling I've been just doing about a month ago or so.
Could you teach us to do it, or is it something that you just
I
have
could
to...
tell you how to do it if you'd like to learn.
You just breathe in?
No, there's something a little more besides that. You press your teeth down as hard as you can. Now put your tongue behind your top teeth. Press in hard with your tongue, your top teeth. Now close your mouth. No, close your mouth now. Now, take one deep breath and bring the air all the way up. Let the air hit the Adam's apple. Now turn the air into a whistle. Now you look like you're suffocating.
Well, see, obviously it's not easy, and you could try it at home too, but it's hard. Maybe you want to try it, Sal?
But David's crowding me. I'm having trouble here.
Okay, David, give Sal proper room. He's a guest, and you have to give him proper room. All right, Sal, don't. I think he's mad because of Delphina's act.
I didn't sit on his lap.
Okay. Oh dear. Well, please stay with us, Mr. Grosso. We want to make sure we get everyone out, so we want to bring out our next guest, so we have everyone together.
Thank you.
We want to bring out now a comedy writer who also has had a history as a stand-up comic, and I think you'll see why he is a comic, because he's very funny. We'd like to welcome, please, Mr. Al Lawrence to the program. How do you do, Mr. Lawrence? Maybe if we could just move over a little bit, Mr. Grosso. David,
one of us has to lose some weight.
David, we have to get another guest on, please.
I think it's me.
David. Okay. Oh, we never had this problem before trying to get everyone on this. All right, David, don't go. All right. Well, all right, then be that way if you want to get on. Okay.
David, you could sit on Delphina's lap.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. I'm sorry we had that little delay there. Maybe if we could just have a mic for Mr. Lawrence. Thank you, Sal. Oh, Sal, you're so helpful. You should be the co-host, and maybe we don't even need David on anymore. You got it, Mr. Lawrence?
Sure do.
Okay. Let me move that pole so it's not in your way. Oh, they're all cords. I'll just throw it on the floor. Okay, there we go. Oh, sorry. All right. Mr. Lawrence.
Eventually we'll get to this
guy. Why don't you tell us some of your jokes so people have an idea how funny you are.
Well, coming down here, I bumped into ex-President Ford on the elevator.
Ex-President Ford?
And I said, pardon me. He says, I don't do that anymore.
Okay. And what about the...
Why don't you laugh? I mean, are your lips chapped or what?
Now, you had the Japanese joke with the wedding.
Well, yes, so last week I went to a Japanese wedding. Instead of throwing rice, they threw transistors.
Now,
thank you.
You have written for Jackie Gale.
Yes, I have.
And his brother is also a comic, you said?
That's right. Marty Gale's his comedian.
Marty Gale?
His brother.
Jackie and Marty Gale.
Although Jackie's more successful. He works Playboy clubs and he works Vegas.
Okay, but maybe Marty's a little younger and he'll too be like successful.
Well, he's more familiar. He's more actually known in resorts, mountains.
Okay.
And he may go back there as a last resort.
Okay. Now you, so you just slide the jokes in when
right in there.
People don't expect them.
It's called ad-libbing.
Ad-libbing. Okay.
It.
And how did you discover that you were a comic? Like, how did you find out you could do comedy?
Well, when I was young, I used to go to a lot of parties, and I just found that everybody got up and did their thing, and I got up, and people responded very well to me. So I.
Okay, like with the lampshade on the head and that.
Things like that, yeah.
Okay.
I say, everybody, lighten up.
Now, have you others, any of you others tried being a comedian or telling jokes or anything like that? You've tried that, Delphina. And what kind of jokes did you tell?
Well, aside from doing this, I do female impersonations.
Okay.
So what I do is I'll do like a whole Bette Midler act. I'll go from like 1973 when she started, here in the city, and then I'll work my way up to, her beaches look where she's all classy and sophisticated now. But I like the trashier Bette better. Would you like to hear one?
Oh, okay. Maybe, Mr. Lawrence, if we could just hand the mic so we can hear the impersonation. Okay, Bette Midler. This is the Woman in the Beaches movie.
Yeah, now she looks like a beached whale, but that wasn't her fault.
Oh,
well, come on. It's hard keeping abreast these days. Anyway, I'll never forget it, I was in bed with my boyfriend Ernie one night, and he said to me, Soph, Soph, what happened to your boobs? They've gotten so large. I said to him, Ernie, I bought a magic mirror. And I hung it behind the door. So Ernie got up, he ran out of the bed, he stood behind the mirror, in front of the mirror and said, mirror, mirror on the door, make my organ touch the floor. Well, with that, his legs just fell off.
Oh.
I'll tell you, he has no luck in or out of bed. It's just, one of those things.
Okay. Well, David, see what you're missing wherever you went. Wherever. Now, that was a little blue, but now, do you, Mr. Lawrence, do you work glue at all?
No, I don't.
You're more of a traditional.
More or less. Yeah, because blue stuff, you're very limited what you can do. Club, this way, if you work clean, you can do a lot of what you call TV work.
Right.
And I've done a lot of television work. Last week, I fixed 2 TV sets.
Oh. Okay. Well, we have to wrap up, and we're just going to play a little piece from the Tony album with Anthony Newley, doing the "Pop Goes the Weasel" song. And we want to thank all of you for coming on. You've all been great guests, Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Grosso, Mr. Piro, and Delphina, and also Frank Frieda. Thank you very much for coming on. And,
look at Quentin Tarantino on the cover.
And, David, maybe you're going to be replaced by a new co-host.
And there goes our audio. I had tried to call that comic again, Al Lawrence, to come on another show, and he said, I didn't get nothing from doing that show.
That's it. Right on. Man, you're bringing me back with those issues of Dynamite on the stand over there. I love that magazine.
Anyway, Sal was right in his element there.
I love the puppets in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was.
Oh, I have a question about that purple puppet. Did that purple puppet?
That's why I said your show for him was everything.
Yeah. Sal, I don't know. Our puppets were whatever we found in the thrift shops, basically.
Oh my God, they were great.
So Lillias, tell us the exciting news. So you're working now on a documentary about Sal, and what's the word on that? What's your time frame? What's happening with that?
Well, I mean, I don't have a time frame. I mean, a lot of people are making documentaries right now because Rocky Horror is turning 50 in almost under 2 years. But this is not a Rocky Horror documentary. So I want everybody to realize that. Of course, Rocky Horror will be definitely a main character in my documentary because of Sal. But this is really the life of Sal and the service of Sal. And I think people are going to be really shocked when they watch it to find out the whole scope of Sal's life and how many people he touched, how many places he went to, and how many people he may not have gone and became a priest, but he did God's work. He didn't have to do it in a church to make people whole and to do wonderful things in this world. And that's what I'm going to show in this documentary. People think he just was this wacky guy, and he's funny and he was kind, but he was a lot more than that. And I hope that everyone will watch it when it airs, because it will air. This is my life's mission right now, because Sal means everything to me, and to have his legacy. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about that. And I don't have a time frame. I'm working on it.
And the movie,
I'm working on it, and
yeah. So the crowd that would show up, Lillias, for Rocky Horror. Are we coming through? Okay, Lillias, you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. And now I can hear you.
Okay, a little delayed. I was just going to say so the crowd that would go to the Rocky Horror Show, it was all different types of people, and people that weren't necessarily mainstream at that time. And could you talk a little bit about that and how Sal kind of helped shepherd some of those people?
Okay. about the crowd that used to go to Rocky Horror?
Yeah.
It was I know I'm not hearing you guys well. Maybe I can move a little. Let's see. So the crowd at Rocky Horror, it was eclectic. I mean, I'm going to say that. Of course, there was a lot of gay. There was transgender people. There were straight people. I don't think Rocky Horror had a specific group, but everybody was welcomed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what for sure what was important about Rocky Horror. Yeah. I'm not sure if you're hearing me right, but yeah.
I mean, even now you'll see there's a lot of people
Are we
there
delayed?
there's a lot of people that are like in the kind of like going towards being in the industry. Definitely people that want that, actors and musicians and things like that. So everybody gets in there.
And then just in Sal's later years, he became very active on Cherry Grove, Fire Island, managed the Ice Palace and the Grove Hotel for 23 years, produced the Miss Fire Island pageant, produced the Mr. Fire Island leather contest. The May 31st now is Sal Piro Day every year out there. So
yes,
it definitely seems like Sal's memory, as it should be, is living on.
It is, and it's wonderful to see so many people have been so kind to share their stories and love of Sal to me. And I think what I'm working on right now is just a big love letter to Sal, because a lot of people have one to him, and they want to express it. So I promise you, people are going to be shocked and surprised and laugh and cry and be inspired.
Yeah, and I know we've only touched on the surface here, and I know there's so much more to Sal's story. You guys grew up with a tough Italian construction worker dad, who you probably would not see performing in front of the Rocky Horror screen, and as you said, Sal was pursuing the priesthood and then somehow wound up in this world. It just is it is a fascinating story, and we can't wait to hear more. Phil,
Thank you. I appreciate that, Rich. And I can't tell you how much we loved your show, and Sal just loved you and loved everything about what you did. So you're our cult favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Checkerphil, any final thoughts on Sal and your friendship with Sal?
All I would say is that literally Sal is a person that would literally give you the clothes off his back. I remember once he had all these really fancy shirts, and he'd lost all this weight, and he was just like, Phil, I want you to have all these shirts. I was like, yo, these are expensive shirts, and these are too good for the likes of me. And he's just like, nope, right there, the shirt's off his back. And it's just like good stuff. So, but just in general, I've never seen a person that's been more kind, more giving, thinking about others before thinking about himself. And like I said, just putting like he was a star maker. He looked at people and he saw it's kind of like you do with Beyond Vaudeville. You see all these different people and you bring them together to make this lovely show. And same thing that he did out there in the village every weekend, like this wonderful bunch of kids, and bring them together to perform. Some people are in lighting, some people are in just doing audience participation, some people are making costumes, some people are performing. So it's like everybody had their place and people would switch around and do things. Evolution, he built community, and that's just so important for Rocky in general. And he said best when he said, Rocky Horror is the picture of the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and beyond. And look at it. We're 2023, still going, still heading towards 50. Probably beyond.
50th anniversary coming up. And so thank you to both of you for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you for everyone that came in.
Yeah.
Alan Brisland from England. Thanks for coming in. Maz Wildfoot, Scott Allen. Who else? Reed Transistor, Dane Fagerholm. Some of these, I'm guessing, are Rocky fans. Mark Thorner, Michael Ellenbogen, Sarah Rusi.
Sarah, represent.
Pliskin. So many people. So thank you so much, everybody who checked this out. And please like and subscribe if you haven't already to our channel. Spread the word. And Lillias and Checkerphil, thanks so much.
Thank you.